to my YouTube channel. So in today's class, we'll be covering the last topic of childhood and growing up, chapter 1. Full of content for the day. First, we'll be looking at what is the meaning of developmental task. Then further, we'll be discussing about the developmental task of early childhood and then later childhood. Exactly is developmental task. So this definition is given by Robert J. Havighurst in the year 1972. Developmental task is a task that arises at a certain point in life of an individual, successful accomplishment of which leads to happiness, while failure leads to difficulty for later task. What does it mean? It means that at every age there are certain tasks which are expected out of the child, and the child must accomplish those particular tasks that will help the child to grow further. And if the child is not able to do certain tasks at that age, it will be very difficult for the child to cope up with the later tasks. So this is what is mentioned here. At each age, according to maturity and growth, the child needs to perform certain activities which are known as developmental tasks. I hope you all have understood. And what are the developmental tasks of early childhood? So here, when we are talking about early childhood, we are talking from 2 to 6 years of age. The first task is learning to walk. At this stage, the child should be able to walk. The child here learns to stand and walk independently, and it helps in the physical growth of the child and also enhances the confidence of the child. The next is learning to talk. The child begins to speak words and communicate with others. Here, the child, when at the age of 2, 3, it will start talking about, with a single word like apple, come, go, etc. As the age passes, the child learns to talk, including certain sentences like I want food, I want water, etc. The third is learning to take solid food. The child gradually shifts from milk to solid food here at this age, and this is what is expected from the child. Then is controlling and elimination of body waste. The child learns toilet habits and self control at this stage. Next is learn to distinguish right and wrong. The child starts understanding the good behavior and bad behavior. The child understands that it's not a good behavior to shout in the public place, right? So here the child understands what is right and wrong. Developing self regulation. Here the child learns to control emotions and behaviors. The child learns to behave in certain regulation, certain manner which is appropriate according to the society. Then is forming simple sentences. The child here starts making short meaningful sentences as we have discussed here. When we were talking about learning to talk, so I had explained you how the child moves from single word to forming a sentences. So this is just an extension explanation of that. You can mention this in your you can either elaborate it or try to include these points in learning to talk point itself. Then we have last is learning language. So here the child develops vocabulary and communication skills. So basically the first language that the child will be learning is mother tongue. It will be Kannada, Tamil, or whichever the mother tongue the child belongs to, mother tongue the child has. So the first child will learn that. So here please note that when we are talking about learning a language in early childhood, it's always mother tongue. First preference is always mother tongue, because the child is with the family with parents, with mother, learning to communicate. The first language that the child will be developing is mother tongue, and gradually the child will start learning other languages. Developmental task of later childhood, which is from 6 to 12 years of age. The first is learning to get along with age mates. Age mates, nothing but age group. So here the child learns about friendship, cooperation, teamwork, etc. The next is building wholesome attitude. Wholesome attitude towards oneself. That means self esteem, positive self concept, you know, having positive opinion on your own self. It's very important at this age. Then we have developing fundamental skills. What are the fundamental skills? Reading, writing, calculating, drawing. These are the basic skills. Okay, at this age, we expect the child to have certain developmental skills. Then we have, I mean to say, fundamental skills. Then we have learning appropriate masculine and feminine roles. So this is very important because at this age the child understands social gender roles and responsibilities, how a feminine needs to behave, and what are the roles and responsibilities the society expects from particular gender, etc. will be learned at this age. Then achieving personal independence. When we talk about personal independence, it means that the child should be able to do his own work by not rather than depending on others. So here personal independence is child is able to do their own work. Then we have developing morality and scales of values. Here the child understands and develops honesty, discipline, and moral values, which is very, very important. Then we have developing concrete and abstract concepts. So here the child develops concrete in the sense something which can be seen, whereas abstract means something which cannot be seen and can only be imagined. So here at this stage the child begins logical thinking, understanding ideas, etc. Then we have developing interest, likes and dislikes. Here the child starts identifying personal preferences and hobbies, what the child likes, what dislikes, everything. Here the child will analyze himself. Then last we have is development of loyalty towards the group. What do you mean by the group? So I hope you understood that later childhood is also called as gang age. I have also mentioned in the previous videos that later childhood is the age when gang formation happens. The child goes to school, interacts with other students, other friends, and makes a gang. It does not, here at this stage the child will not have one or two friends, the child will have multiple friends, more than 10 friends, and will have a gang. So here the child will develop loyalty, team spirit, and loyalty towards friends, family, school, etc. So these are the certain tasks that are expected from later childhood children. This marks the end of the chapter 1, childhood and child development. If you have any doubt, please drop your concerns in comment box, and if you like my videos, please hit a like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Education Hub. Explore, learn, and grow together. Thank you.